So I just got off a one-on-one earlier today from someone who's experienced narcissistic abuse real time, and it's devastated her, it's devastated her family, it's devastated and taken away so much of her life, and want to be able to share that. So it's a little bit different of a live today because I wanted you to realize how real and how dangerous narcissistic abuse actually is. Probably going to make another video on this, but I wanted to bring it to you first and foremost, just from being able to talk to an abuse survivor and have her story that not just she told to me on a call and said, "Hey, please let people know," but she also sent me the news articles of what happened and how her house burned down and she lost her son. Narcissistic abuse is real, and most people don't realize how real and how much it actually affects. You see, she was in a relationship with a toxic guy that continued to hurt and abuse her. Didn't start off in violence, but it continued to step into violence to the place where he strangled her. And listening and in talking to different people around the country that work in abuse and work in violence, if you've been strangled by the toxic person, you are around like 700 times more likely to be killed by that person. And so she planned her escape. She planned to be able to leave. Her exit strategy she was working on, she was planning on being able to get out in January. But about a month ago is when it all went down. He continued to control her, continued to take her, use her whenever he wanted, take her phone whenever he felt like she wasn't being respectful, make her sleep on the couch, lock her out of the room. All different types of things happen in these type of toxic relationships. The abuse got worse and worse and worse. It got to a place where she left and she went to work one day and got a text from him saying that it was over, that he's not going back to the cops. The actual phrase is he says he's getting ready for the cops and he's not going back to jail. I don't think she knew at that time, but when we talked, she talked about his ex-wife that had previously held a gun to her head. You see, the night before, he had held a gun to her head, saying that if she ever left him, that he would kill her. Got up the next day and just like nothing happened, and he continued just with whatever routine was there until she got the text at work, and then she called 911, started down this whole process. The police showed up, SWAT showed up, and was a long standoff going back and forth. You see, inside the house were twins, 11-year-old girl and boy. What exactly transpired in the house, it's not 100% clear. But the fact of the matter is the toxic guy, the man, got up, used his gun, and killed the 11-year-old boy. Then from there, however it proceeded, started to burn the house down and committed suicide. Once the house went up in flames, authorities were able to rush in and actually be able to save the 11-year-old daughter, the other twin. And she called me today. We had a talk today for about 45 minutes. And her one cry and her one plea was to explain this and tell this to the world so that you would be aware of how bad it can get. So you'd be aware of the thought process of it's not so bad, let me continue to stay. That works until it doesn't. So you can be aware of how it's affecting you on a day-to-day basis. A lot of the people I talk to, we have to sit down and we have to count the cost of what it's actually cost you. I share this story to jar you awake because some of you are in the same exact type of a situation. You just haven't seen it go to this end result yet. Some of you are in the situation where he's already strangled you before, where he's already hit you, or he's already pushed you, he shoved you, he screamed at you, he's yelled at you, he's lashed out, he slapped you, he's dragged you across the floor by your hair. Some of you are already in these situations. and you might justify it. You might say it's just his anger issues. He's just going through a tough time. Maybe it'll get better. What if it doesn't? What if the current reality that you're in is only going to get worse? When will you make the decision to make a different choice for you? Because until you make a different choice for you, you're going to continually be stuck inside of toxicity. You're going to continually be stuck with a toxic person. Am I saying it's easy? No, not at all. But it is a choice. If you don't hear anything today, but just to wake up to the reality that if you're dealing with a toxic person, you have no idea how far it can go to destroy your entire life, career, and take away everything you love. And the longer that you stay in this type of relationship, the longer they have a chance to be able to rip apart your soul piece by piece, and destroy you. This is an extreme example, but it is an accurate example, a real life example of a toxic, narcissistic person that snapped and went all the way and started killing his family and killed himself. But you need to understand that your narcissist is no different. They're only a few decisions away from losing it all, losing the mindset, losing whatever's going on, keeping whatever peace at bay inside of them. There's like a void that is like raging underneath the surface. And as soon as you step out of line, as soon as you don't do what that person wants you to do, it's rage. When will you make the decision for you? When will you make the decision to actually step up and be free? You see, you're taught and you're trained by a toxic, narcissistic person that you don't have a choice. You don't have a voice. You don't have an opinion that matters. You don't have feelings that actually count. You're taught and trained this way to be able to put up with abuse over and over and over. You're taught and conditioned to be able to put up with a bunch of shit in your life over and over and over. And you stay. I'm not trying to beat you up if you stay. I'm just saying you have to take a look at the reality of what is happening. You're hoping and you're praying and you're thinking maybe something will change, but you haven't seen the demonstrated evidence of it actually happening. You haven't seen it actually change and grow, and this person actually develop and be honest. Some of you might be debating today of like, should I even leave? Maybe I should stay under one roof. It would be better that way for the kids. And the majority of time, it never is, because they're still exposed to this toxicity all of the time. And they're shown that mom doesn't actually stand up to it or set herself free. So they grow up with this idea that it's okay to get abused, that it's okay to have this person talk to you this way. It's okay to get pushed around. That's what they get trained on. You can justify it for yourself, but you can't justify it for your kids and how it's affecting, how it affects you, how it affects the kids, how they grow up and either turn into narcissists or turn into codependents because of how they've been conditioned by seeing things in the household that they don't know how to deal with. They don't know how to process, and they can't talk about their emotions to anyone because it's discounted. Narcissistic abuse is real and is dangerous, but most people do not give it the credit that it actually deserves of how dangerous it actually is. Don't let your life get to this place where you lose a family member, where your house burned down, where you almost lose all of your kids because of the fact that you kept justifying it, saying, maybe it's okay, I can stay a little bit longer. The trauma bond is real. It's an addiction. It keeps you stuck to this person over and over and over again. It'll keep you cycling back to toxicity because it's what feels comfortable for you. It feels normal. It feels okay that this person degrades you and puts you down. That they say these snide comments that make you feel less than, that they tell you that you're not worthy, that they tell you that you're not good enough, that they tell you that you're low life, that you're trash, that nobody's going to want to be with you. These are the things that get said in these relationships, and it's easy for you to just discount them and move forward being like, it'll be okay. Maybe he's just having a hard time. You explain it, you come up with stories, you come up with lies, you come up with different things you believe than the truth of how this person's actually treating you.